Welcome on into the Cleveland Browns Report. Matthew Peterson here running through some questions that were asked during our live show. So if you want to be a part of the next mailbag, join our live show every single Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern. First question comes in from Joshua Miller via Super Chat. Thank you, Josh. Who is a dark horse team no one is talking about that would be interested in trading for Garrett? Well, let me start by ruling out teams that I don't think would be considered dark horses. I don't think the Bills, the Commanders would be the Eagles would be considered dark horses. I don't think the Bears or Falcons should be dark horses, but the Bears are probably the most dark horse of that bunch right there since they're picking 10th, so no one thinks they're in a competitive spot, but they made a very similar trade for Khalil Mack with a quarterback going into year 2 of his career, so it would almost be like a repeat of their 2018 season. But I'll give you one that really no one's talking about. How about the Arizona Cardinals? They've got Kyler Murray, Marvin Harrison Jr., a winnable division, and maybe they feel like we're in a spot where we can swing big here. Give up draft picks for Myles Garrett. Now, Myles wants to go to a contending team. He also does not get a say where he gets traded. So if the Cardinals and 3 teams picking after them all give offers to Cleveland, stopping the Browns from taking the best offer from the Cardinals. So the Cardinals, they need some names on defense. I'd be impressed if you could name 3 starters on the Cardinals defense right now. Budda Baker, they have an Ojulari, they had the guy from Mizzou last year in round 1. It's bad. So Garrett, I think, could be a big, obviously, get for them, and I could see it making sense from their side as well. Kathy Sidlecki, what would the ideal move the Browns should with Watson? I think the future for Watson with the Browns is kind of simple. I would say simple, but to me it is at least. He's going to miss all of 2025 on the PUP list. He will have $44 million in injury insurance, go to the Browns salary cap in 2026, so a year from now. And the Browns will designate him as a post-June 1 release. And they will have $44 million in cap relief applied to his $77 million dead cap hit. And then they will spread out the remaining money. They might even restructure his 2026 deal before. Restructure, then release is probably not going to happen. So I think $44 million in cap relief is coming after he misses all of 2025. And then he's a post-June 1 release this time next year. Joe Hayden, Browns legend. Derek Carr, the Browns' next QB. Since hiring Kellen Moore, I think the probability of Carr being dumped by the Raiders has increased. Kellen Moore's, Saints, sorry. I think the probability of Derek Carr being dumped by the Saints since Kellen Moore got the job in the Big Easy has increased because during his introductory press conference, he did not sound like a coach who was super stoked to work with Carr or was going to guarantee Carr is here to stay. I remember being very anti-sign Derek Carr after the Raiders came to Cleveland in 2021 and beat the Browns. But when you look at Derek Carr's numbers, no, I'm not saying he's an all-pro quarterback or anything like that, but I am saying he might be your best option. You look around the free agent market, and there's never good quarterbacks in free agency. What team lets a good quarterback go to free agency? So, if you go with that, Carr, old man Cousins, old man Rodgers, roll the dice on Justin Fields, see if Mac Jones revives his career a little bit, or you take the safe option, Derek Carr. And you know what you're going to get. You're going to get average quarterback play. Can't guarantee you get average quarterback play from the other guys. So I would not poo-poo the idea of signing Derek Carr. Is it someone that you're going to buy a jersey for? Of course not. Is it someone who might be your best option in a bad situation? Yes. And I understand the argument is, well, then why don't you just draft a quarterback? Because I value the second overall draft pick to not just take any quarterback because you need a quarterback. Imagine if a team just took Kenny Pickett because they needed a quarterback. You should trust your evaluations of these players. If you don't think there's a franchise QB at pick number 2, then take someone who you think is a franchise player. And sure, it's a bummer that you won't have your quarterback issue for the future solved, but I don't think it's solved in the draft anyway. So 2 wrongs don't make a right by forcing something, and then the next year you're picking second again, and you don't have Abdul Carter on your roster, or Travis Hunter, or any other really good players. So I'll say yes if he does become available. Just chill. Could the Browns give Myles a new contract, then trade him to avoid the dead cap money? No. Give him a new contract is more dead money because you guaranteed money in that contract. There's no avoiding the dead money. Guys, when you trade a player away, you are not trading their cap hits away. You are trading any unpaid cash. Not usually. That always is in the form of base salaries, bonuses. That is unpaid money to the player yet, right? If a player signs a 5-year, $100 million contract, $20 million a season, and $50 million is guaranteed. When year 4 gets there, if all $50 million has been paid out and there's $40 million left or $50 million left not guaranteed, then a team trading for that player doesn't have any financial obligation because all the money's been paid out, so they could cut him, for example. I know that was kind of a little bit complex right there, but the point I want you guys to take away from this is when trading for a player, you do not acquire their cap hits. You don't trade away dead cap hits to another team. You are trading away unpaid money. Ninja Cow re-signed Takitaki. He was released by the New England Patriots. Browns didn't bring him back last offseason. They liked Takitaki. They brought him back once in free agency. I think they really like what they got out of Jordan Hicks and Devin Bush. But with JOK's injury, maybe they feel like they need to go back to the linebacker well. I remember last year I was banging the table for Cleveland to take Edgerrin Cooper. Ultimately, he went a few picks before Cleveland at 52 with Mike Hall. So I'll never know if he was high up on their big board, but Edgerrin Cooper, the linebacker for the Packers, just had a phenomenal rookie season. So with JOK's injury, we'll see how serious it is and how that impacts the Browns' free agency and draft plan and strategy. Dallas, what should we do if the Titans for real end up drafting Abdul Carter? You sell that pick to the highest bidder. Because that means you're picking first for any team looking for a quarterback. And there will be a team out there willing to give up a ton to have their pick of either Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders. And as someone who does not believe either quarterback is this perennial franchise QB, you know this draft class kind of reminds me of? Kind of reminds me of Winston and Mariota. I think Cam Ward's Jameis Winston light. Jameis Winston throws a ton of touchdowns, ton of interceptions. Cam Ward throws a lot of touchdowns, a lot of turnover-worthy plays. Shedeur Sanders, great accuracy. Mariota, great accuracy. Doesn't quite have that it factor to really elevate a team. You know what I mean? And those guys went 1 and 2. And I'm sure both teams would like to redo those picks. So if the Giants or the Raiders or anyone else is willing to give you a king's ransom, personally, I do it as someone who does not think either one of these quarterbacks are going to get second contracts from any team that drafts them. Before we get on to the other questions on today's mailbag, quick shout out to Fanatics for having some awesome Browns gear on sale. Go to chatsports.com/CLE sale. I put this link in the comments and description of today's video. If you're looking to gift yourself or maybe a loved one some Browns gear, use our link. It does help support the channel. Plus, you can get some more Brown stuff in your closet going into the spring and then the summer. Pat Wooey. Why haven't the Browns used their insurance policy on Watson not being in the boot and cut his ass yet? I don't think there was probably much truth to Deshaun Watson violated the injury clause of his contract when he re-injured his Achilles. Either that or there's just no way to gather evidence. Like if Watson was playing basketball and popped it then, who's to say that he just didn't pop it walking in his boot, right? Unless the Browns have a spy on him, that's not a tough lie to pull off. And if you're Watson, you're going to lie. It's kind of like if you ever watch Ballers, remember the defensive tackle? I can't remember the guy's name, but he hurt his ankle paintballing or popped his Achilles paintballing. And he eventually told the Cowboys the truth, and they weren't too mad at him. But in the show, they got mad at him. But yeah, my guess is the Browns have no way of actually proving that he violated some type of injury clause in his contract when he re-injured his Achilles. Chase, you're on screen. What is your record prediction for the next 2 years? 2025. It's tough to say this without knowing who the quarterback is, right? So I'll say 2025, 3-win season the year before. Give me a 6-win season that next season. So 2025, 6 wins. It's impossible to say the next year. I have no idea who's going to be starting. I don't even know if Myles is going to be on this team. I'll say 2026, pulling a number kind of out of thin air here. But 9-8. Getting better. Adding 3 wins each year. Kev Dawg. PD, can we get a prediction on how far the Cavs go? When the Cavs got off to their incredible hot start to the year, always kind of felt like, all right, you don't want to peak too early, though, right? You want to be the team that's really hot to open up the year, and then after Christmas Day, you kind of start to play 500 basketball. I think this is just who the Cavs are. They are what their record says they are. There are lots of instances of teams like, 10-0 start in the NBA, something like that, and now they're 15-9, and they're not quite that 10-0 team anymore. The Cavs are what their record says they are. They're the best team in the Eastern Conference. I'm looking forward to Cavs Celtics in the Eastern Conference semifinals, and then probably playing Thunder, and I'll go with the Nuggets. I don't think the Grizzlies are going to go all the way to the Western Conference Finals. So give me a Cavs Thunder final, and I'll take Cleveland. Dylan Sutcliffe, I would like if we draft Shedeur, but I don't think it's going to happen. See, like Dylan, I'm in the complete opposite camp. I don't think the Browns should draft Shedeur, but I think they may very well draft him. It's so early in the process, though. I don't think anyone can say with any absolute reasoning other than my gut tells me the Browns are going to do this. We'll have to wait and see. And by wait, I don't mean we have to wait all the way till the draft night. We got to get through the combine first, and then we can have a better idea of what the sense is. Super chat from James Harper. James, appreciates you supporting the channel. Always going above and beyond to be so generous with your hard earnings. So thank you for your support and your continued viewership of the Cleveland Browns Report. If you enjoyed today's episode, hit that thumbs up button down below and subscribe as well. But let's pick a card to wrap up our mailbag today. Reed, which card are you thinking?
Oh, man. I feel like the Queen never gets any love. Queen of Hearts.
I was thinking King of Diamonds, but I'm going to change it to 2 of Spades. Yeah. Six of Hearts. All right. That will do it for us on our mailbag today. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see everyone tomorrow.